Am I live? Am I live? Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Your girl Tay here. I'm on camera this time, y'all. Hey, I got my setup. I hope you guys like it. Yeah, I'm bringing you another Naked and Afraid episode review. This time we have episode 9, season 17, episode 9, Triple Threat. So we got three people here. We got Frank here on the left with the locks, honey. We have Julia and we have Scott. Okay. So, this is a 21-day challenge in the Colombian jungle. You already know the usual suspects: the mosquitoes, the jaguars, the caiman, the snakes, the insects, just all of that. Y'all know the jungle, every twist and turn, honey, something can happen, okay? But before we get into the full challenge, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, give the stream a like. It will really help your girl out. Subscribing to the channel, it's free. So, help your girl out, and if you are enjoying these reviews and recaps, make sure you guys leave a comment. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the season and the episodes, okay? So we have three survivalists, and they have successfully, all three of them have completed a 14-day fan challenge. Okay, so first up we have Julia. She is a 20-year-old waitress, okay, from North Carolina. She completed her fan challenge in Mexico. Her mother, Trish, is a Naked and Afraid all-star. Okay, so shout out to the mother and daughter duo, just making this a whole family affair for Naked and Afraid. I know that's right, girls. Passing it down. So, Julia says she has some skills with foraging and trapping. She's starting off with a PSR of 6.3, and she bought some paracord. Okay. Frank is 43 years old, and he's from Florida. Okay. He completed his fan challenge in Tobago. I enjoyed his episode, and I really like Frank as a survivalist. And he says completing his 14-day fan challenge has made him more confident and cocky. And he has a hard time watching others do things their way when he's so used to doing things his way, right? But when it comes to survival, his philosophy is work slowly and steadily and think things through, because common sense is your best survival tool. Okay, words from Frank. Make sure y'all heed and take y'all notes this episode, because Frank is teaching, okay, as he should. So shout out to Frank, because he had a lot of knowledge for this episode. Okay, and he has some hunting, trapping, and shelter building skills. His PSR, he's starting off with a 6.0, and he brought a machete. Now, Scott is 37 years old, and he's from Massachusetts. He finished his 14-day challenge in South Africa alone after his partner tapped out on day 4. So, he's very impulsive. He likes to take risk. And one of his survival weaknesses is that, being, just whatever, let's do whatever, just keep going. Like this whole episode, Scott just keep going, child. But he's starting off with a PSR of 5.8, and he brought a mosquito net, and they were given a map, pot, and fire starter. Okay, so day one, Julia and Frank meet up. They meet up first and get acquainted, and they talk about their skills and stuff like that. And then Scott joins. He didn't say the skills that he had, but yeah, he joins. They check the map, and they head out to find a suitable spot to make camp. It's difficult to find a flat area because of all of the rocks. And Frank is like, let's keep moving until we can find a flat surface. So they keep moving. Scott is thirsty, and he's ready to settle, down soon. Like he's hot. Like it's already becoming a problem for him. Day one, okay? They find a small waterfall with a nice sized pool of water that they decide to jump in. The area has a nice spot to camp, and it has nice resources. So they decide to make it their base camp. Now, they were initially concerned about the area flooding, but Frank is like, look, this is better than what we've been seeing. If it's going to flood, we can move to higher ground. So they decide to make an A-frame shelter and get to work. Scott is thirsty, so he does something that, you know, we as fans already know not to do, right? He drinks the water without boiling it first. Like, sir, come on now. Absolutely not. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Just drinking the water without boiling it. Okay. He literally, he takes risks. So this is one of those risks that he was okay taking. Okay. So whatever. Now, night one, Scott is not feeling well. His stomach is messed up. He has some diarrhea. Day two, Scott is still, having some diarrhea. He says this is a self-inflicting situation because he's the one who decided to drink the water without boiling it, right? Frank and Julia chop bamboo to use as cups and to make a two-step water filtration system. They stack some bamboo nodes with small holes on the bottom, sand in the top of the bamboo to catch dirt, and charcoal on the bottom to capture bacteria. Now, the water looked great. So, shout out to Frank with the water filtration with the bamboo. Okay. Night two, it's raining. They did well staying dry, but Scott laid out in the rain because he said he was running hot. Okay. So he needed to cool down. Day three, Scott is doing better drinking the filtered water. They go out and gather resources to weatherproof their shelter more. Night three, let me slow down. Night three, Scott is uncomfortable sleeping in the shelter. He says the part of his shelter is more rocky. Day four, they focus on building some beds. Once again, Frank has devised a solution for Scott's problem. Frank and Julia go wash off in the waterfall, and Julia catches an iguana. So they have iguana for dinner. Day five, Frank goes out to find some food and resources. He sees a lot of birds that he wants to try to catch, and he finds some coconuts filled with water. So, he takes those back to camp and they enjoy some fresh coconut water. Day six, Frank teaches them how to build a bird trap, and Julia and Scott build one themselves because three traps are better than one. Day seven, they check the bird traps, but nothing. Day eight, they decide to switch up the method of getting some protein, and Scott and Julia try using the mosquito net to catch some minnows in the water, but they are struggling. Okay. So Scott doesn't feel like he's contributing much to the team. So this is, eating away at him. So he wants to just keep trying and doing different things to try to, just prove himself to the team and just not be slacking off, because he wants to, contribute. And I get that. So I could, hand clap for him, still trying despite, things not going his way. Right. So yeah, so day nine, Scott wants to look for some food, but Frank and Julia are not okay with traveling too far. So they decide to head out a little ways. They find some steep hills, and the insects are an issue. So Frank said there are a bunch of calories being burned, but they haven't seen a piece of fruit, a nut, or nothing. So Frank says he doesn't want to depend on Scott. So he and Julia decide to head back, but Scott keeps going towards the ridge. He's trying to look for resources. Frank finds a crawfish exoskeleton and says it's some crawdad in the area. So, he wants to, try to figure out a way to catch those. Now, Scott is gone for 4 hours and he returns to camp with nothing. And Frank is disappointed. I think we were all disappointed. Okay. All of that for nothing. Day 11, Frank builds and teaches Scott how to build a fish trap to catch some crawfish. Night 11, it's raining badly and the water rises near their shelter. Day 12, they move their camp because they are in a flood zone. They move to higher ground. They check the fish traps, but it's been destroyed by the storm. Okay. Now this was day 12. So it was destroyed by the storm. They had to move to higher ground. Day 14, they are starving and head out to find food. Frank finds a snake, but it gets away. Scott decides to take Frank's advice and moves slowly and steadily. And it pays off because he finds a palm tree and chops it down and gets to the edible heart of palm. But they try to eat it, but it's bitter. So Julia decides not to eat it. She's like, no, I already know it's going to mess my stomach up. Absolutely not. Day 16, they hear a loud thud, like something hit the ground. It's like, duh. And they find an iguana, but it gets away. Day 19, Frank and Julia are trying to conserve energy, and Julia's mental morale is low. Scott heads out to check the bird traps, but nothing. Scott says something, let me rewind it. Rewind. Scott says sometimes taking a risk pays off. And clearly, that point of view pays off and scored him a win because he finds 7 bird eggs and takes them back to camp, and they have hard boiled eggs for dinner. Day 20, they check the map to see what plan they want to implement for extraction. They make some cordage from leaves and grass, and Scott makes a basket to carry things during the extraction. Night 20. Now, night 20, Colombia said, "Oh, this y'all last night? Let me send y'all a parting gift. It's raining really bad and their shelter has flooded, like really, really bad. So they evacuate with some coals and head to higher ground. And lucky for them, they are able to start a fire. I think that was like A1, like your whole shelter floods and you move to another area, higher ground, and you get a fire started. So that was awesome. Day 21 is extraction day. It's raining. Not it's raining. They must trek 1 mile down the river. Okay. And walk through the rocky cliff terrain and then build a raft to float 3 miles to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, 2 hours in, they reach the steep rocky cliffs. Sky has a fear of heights, so this was a challenge for him. They take their time walking on the slippery rocks and finally make it down. They get to the river. They chop down some bamboo. They make a quick raft. Julia floats on the raft really well, and the guys are swimming behind, holding on to the raft as they head down the river. It's like all this murky water. They like it stinks. Like we got to keep pushing. First, they're like walking, then they're swimming, then they're back to like walking, then swimming again. It was a mess. But they finally see the beach and the people riding on the four-wheelers and they are extracted. Okay, so let's do PSR updates. Frank, a 6.0 to a 7.2. Julia, a 6.3 to a 7.0. Scott, a 5.8 to a 6.4. Okay, so with Frank, being a 6.0 to a 7.2, I think that's a good jump, but I feel like they could have moved him to a 7.5 because Frank was out there teaching them a whole bunch of different stuff. Like Frank was MVP, and I really, really, really would like to see him on a 40-day XL challenge. Like I I don't know. Just Frank just did it for everyone, okay? He is like awesome. Like, what else can I say? Like, he did so amazing. Like, and being able to like teach them, he's so used to doing things his way. And but his way wasn't wrong. He taught them a lot of things. And I think they should be, grateful for that. And I think they are. Julia, a 6.3 to a 7.0. I think she could have went up to like a 7.2, little 7.2. But she's making this necking and afraid thing a whole family affair. Okay. Her and her mom. I know that's right. So shout out to the mother and daughter duo. Okay. Scott, a 5.8 to a 6.4. I agree with that. So, I agree with that. Um, but yeah, that was the episode, guys. Make sure you guys leave a comment and let me know if you guys like it. Usually my lives are like 20 minutes, but this one was really quick because it wasn't really a lot going on. Like they didn't have no real bad issues, debates, nothing like that going on. So it wasn't really much drama, besides Scott, having diarrhea, his back hurting because he can't sleep on them rocks in the shelter and yada dee yada da. But eventually he pulled through, so and he found that bitter heart of palm, okay? But he, got that other win with the 7 eggs. So they had them hard boiled eggs. So before extraction. So that pushed them through. So shout out to Scott for the alley oop. Okay. Period. Like it was just like push them to the last to the last, the last day. So congratulations to Frank, Julia, and Scott for surviving 21 days. They graduated from 14, okay, fan challenge, 14 days to 21 days. So congratulations to them. I already expect to see Julia in another Naked and Afraid challenge. Okay, she is trying to beat out her mother, girl. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. It's not even beating out your mom. It's like just continuing on the legacy, okay? Just she's in she says she ain't like in a little competition with her mom, but girl, you ain't in no competition with your mama because you can't be in competition with the OG, okay? You can't be in competition with your mama. You just continuing the legacy, okay? And yeah, so I expect to see Julia in the future in some more episodes. Frank, definitely, he talk about 40 XL. Yeah, we definitely want to see Frank. Scott, we don't need to see him, but shout out to him, because he's one of those people that do take risks on these challenges, and luckily for him, it did not get him out of the challenge early. Okay, he survived. So not survived, but yeah, survived literally in a while, naked and afraid. So yeah, and also guys, Naked and Afraid XL challenge returns in May. They did release a 1 minute trailer. We will be getting into that tomorrow, between 12 and 1 p.m. When I put the baby down for her nap, I'll come live really quickly. We could watch the preview, and yeah, I'll give my thoughts. We could watch it together, whatever. You already know. Make sure you guys leave some comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the episode and about the season. If clearly it's ready to wrap up. I think they got one more episode, and then we'll have a little break, and then we'll have XL next month. So I'm really excited to continue to do these reviews and recaps. Shout out to Discovery, shout out to production, shout out to all the survivalists, the ones that have survived the challenge and the ones that have tapped, because regardless, honey, it takes guts to go out there and try to survive. Okay, and shout out to all the couch survivalists, the viewers, the fans, okay, the ones that watch the show and give L critiques and you know, show love or not show love, okay, to the people, okay? But make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this stream a thumbs up. Shout out to the people that are replaying and watching. I appreciate you guys. Please, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the girl out. And I know y'all tired of me saying it, but guess what? Who else is going to advocate for me? Nobody. Me. But you guys already know, love yourself, one another, your pets and animals, and happy surviving, okay? In the wild and in the concrete jungle. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.